Yo, this is DTM, and today I'm going to talk about get smart, know your tools. So get ready for a story of my life. All right, here we go. DTM. All right, so I'm glad you're here. Just a little quick unpopular opinion edition of my live streams. As you know, we've been live a lot at Cinamaker Studios because as part of being a full-time working artist, in anybody's art career, you should have some kind of marketing and social media promotion as part of your art life. And so that's what you get with me right now. So let's talk about unpopular opinion, which is knowing your tools. And I say it's an unpopular opinion because a lot of times when I talk to artists and I ask them about their tools, they don't know how to answer, and they don't even know. And so let me tell you a little bit of story first about myself, and then I'll get into the specific situations when I've asked artists about what they're doing and how they do, that they don't know how to answer. And this is why I want you to pay attention to your tools, get to know them, because they are an extension of yourself. So here's a story. For the first 10 years of my career, I've been a working artist for 20 years. And for the first 10 years, I spent a lot of time just having fun. I did tattoos, I learned to paint, I learned to do graphic design, web design, illustration and graphics and so on, right? So I moved between the traditional mediums and digital mediums. But what I was doing is exploring, enjoying myself, and finding ways to make money with it. And it worked well for me. It was this is way before the internet, so there aren't no videos or posts about what happened in the 90s and the early 2000s. But as time went on, I realized a couple of things about me, which is going to be another unpopular opinion video about knowing your message or having a message. But as time went on, I kept building my knowledge about the techniques and what I'm producing, the techniques that are going to help me produce better artwork or cleaner or more challenging artwork. And I started talking to more artists about their tools and their creativity, and I kept hearing about the types of paper that is out there. I kept hearing about the markers that they use, the pens that they use, and I actually had a prop and I forgot to bring it up here. And so as time went on, I realized, you know what? I draw on whatever I feel like. I draw on whatever paper works for me, and I do not know the names of the companies. I do not know the type of paper it is. I just know what works for me, and I have a lot of different things. And so I started thinking about, well, I need to pay attention to the stuff that I create, the way it looks when it's finished, and remember what tools and techniques I use to get there. Because as a professional, you want to be able to show an example of a finished product that you're going to do for a client. And if at the end of that project you don't have the finished product the way you said it was going to look, then you're not fulfilling your part as a professional artist for your client. And so keeping track of your tools, keeping track of your process, keeping track of your workflow is very important. And that's when I started paying attention to Canson paper, to Strathmore paper, to Frederick's canvases, alternative canvases, paying attention to the types of brushes that are out there, the acrylic paints that are out there. I'm an acrylic artist. Paying attention to watercolor stuff because I want to explore more on the watercolor. And as time's gone on, I started collecting the art materials that I saw that work best for the type of art that I create. And that's where knowing your tools is important, because now I know what a client wants. I know where that artwork is going to go, and so that I figure out then what's the best kind of art, what's the end product for the art needs to be, so that they can be used as a professional and whatever needs the client has. And so from there, I work my way back and figuring out what all the elements that I need to add to make sure that this artwork fits this, which then brings us into digital art. So when I started my digital art career, it was all Photoshop, Illustrator. When I found out what Illustrator can do, I was blown away. That's it. That's what I want. I want to create my artwork in Illustrator because I want it to scale. I want it to be able to be used on a T-shirt, on a banner, etc. Right? So as time's gone on, I realized that not every computer can run Illustrator. Not every computer can run Photoshop. And I started my Photoshop and Illustrator career in 2001, 2002. And that's, by then I had kept hearing about Photoshop Illustrator, Photoshop Illustrator. So I went and jumped in, and I started to use the software. And if you've used any of that kind of software, and in those days we still had Corel, people cared about Corel, then you'll realize that those resources that the software needs will drag down your computer. At which point, then I started to realize, wait a minute, I need a better computer. I need a stronger machine. And it's an unpopular opinion, because when I talk to artists and digital artists and I ask them what kind of machine they have, they say they don't know. I said, what's the RAM? They don't know. How much? What's the company? What is your requirements? What are your requirements for your software? And they don't know, and I don't get it. It's like, wait a minute, these are your tools. You as a professional artist should know what are the tools that you use and that you prefer to produce the work that is going to get you money. And it's like, and those tools are an extension of yourself. The traditional art tools, the digital tools, those are all extensions of yourself. And you got companies like Wacom charging you $3,000. I just got an email from Wacom because I'm in the mailing list. And they said, oh, we got refurbished machines. So I click on it and said, well, let me look at it. They also do financing. So I was like, of course I wouldn't buy anything without talking to my wife. But in any case, I'm looking at the website, and the one machine that I think would be good for me is $3,000, and that's refurbished, right? So you have to start paying attention to the specs before you spend the money, which is $3,000 is a nice chunk of change for a machine. So think about knowing your tools and knowing that what you need is gonna be important when it's time to upgrade, when it's time to buy new stuff. Apple just released some new machines this week. I think it was yesterday, and so the iMac got an upgrade. And I saw somebody post that they're gonna buy a new machine. I'm like, hey, that's great. You get a chance to buy a new machine. And then they showed a screenshot of the order they're getting, and they're buying an 8 gigabyte machine. I was like, why? Why are you buying this expensive computer and it's only got 8 gigs of RAM? I have an iMac that was 8 gigs of RAM. I bought 16 and 16. I think I bought 32 gigs of RAM. No, I bought 8 and 8. Something like that, yeah, 16. I bought 16 gigs of RAM so I can put it into that machine so that it can go stronger and faster. You have to know your tools. You have to understand what it takes. Another aspect that goes into this unpopular opinion is only having one computer. If you're a digital artist or if you're a technologist and your work depends on a computer, then you need to have more than one. I have 3 Surfaces, 3 iPad Pros, a few iPads, other iPads. I have a couple of desktops. I have 2 MacBook Pros, an old MacBook, iMac. I have a lot of machines. I think I at least have 10. At any point in my daily design life, art life, I can pick any one of those up because I make sure that they all have the specs that I need to do the work that I need to do. I can pick any one of those up, do the work that I need to do, make sure my client is happy, and get paid. This is what you have to do as a professional artist. Know your tools, know your machines, know the traditional materials that work best to provide you with the artwork that you need for your clients, and have backups. I have backups. That's how I got in these different phones that I use with Cinamaker today, is that I've traded services, I bought used devices so that I can have a backup. I have a backup to my phone. I have an iPhone. I use it in my daily life, and if something was to happen to that iPhone, I can grab a different phone, stick my SIM card in it, and keep going. Because as a professional, I need to be able to produce for my clients at any given time, because that is the business that I'm in. All right, this is an unpopular opinion. This is DTM. Thank you for tuning in. We will check on the comments and respond to those. Please let me know if you know your tools. Leave a comment. Let me know if you know your tools. What are the tools that you most prefer and what kind of artwork are you producing that those tools are most helpful for? All right, follow us. Check us out, DeltaTangoMike, anywhere in the social medias. artistking_ATL for all the resources and tips for working artists. And then last but not least, but Vector Maestros for the YouTube channel and for more tutorials and illustration with Adobe Illustrator. This is DTM. Talk to y'all later. Peace.